The purpose of this video is to introduce you to basic modeling with Toad Data Modeler. We begin by starting with a new model. You will have to choose a database target. We'll choose Oracle 10G and then click OK. We're presented with the model diagram. We maximize the model diagram. We also will remove the overview tree. When creating a model, first items on the agenda are the addition of entities. Select the entity icon, drop it on the model. Need a second entity? Select the entity icon, drop it on the model. Every entity has to have a name and should have a primary key identifier. We change the attributes of an entity as well as change its name by double-clicking to get access to its properties. Our first entity will be employee. Our convention is capital names for an entity. Next, we're going to add some attributes. Click Add. We're going to make this a primary key, and using the general identifier ID for the primary key name, we can complete by clicking OK, or we can add additional attributes by clicking OK plus Add. Our next attribute for our employee is name. We're going to make that required, so we're going to check Not Null and click OK to complete the addition of our attributes. We've completed our changes to the employee entity, so we'll click OK. Now we're going to change the characteristics of our second entity to job. We're going to add attributes. The first is going to be our primary key, the ubiquitous ID. We're also going to add an additional attribute, name. We're also going to make it mandatory by clicking Not Null and click OK to complete. So we have employee and job entities. We're going to model their relationship by drawing a relationship line between them. We have a set of relationship icons to choose from: the identifying relationship, the non-identifying relationship, many-to-many relationship, and the self relationship. We do not use the informative relationship. For our purposes here and in general, the starting relationship is the non-identifying relationship. We select the non-identifying relationship icon. We begin by clicking the parent in the relationship, which is usually the one end, and ending at the child in the relationship, the many end. Toad Data Modeler automatically draws in that relationship as well as the foreign key that documents it in the child entity. We have a couple of additional items to change here. One is the relationship name, and we're going to change that to a phrase or word that represents the child's relationship to the parent, and then a phrase or word that describes the parent's relationship to the child. I also have to change the optionality of the relationship as it stands. The relationship is describing a job is held by one or more employees, and we have to provide the opportunity for some jobs to be not held by any employee. So we double-click the relationship line and change the optionality to the child. It's also described as the partiality to the child, and then we click OK. Do some lining up here to one additional step. You'll note that we have two attributes named ID. In fact, what we must do is rename the foreign key attribute. Double click the employee entity, select the foreign key that we want to rename, and we have to rename the column name, which our convention is the parent or source entity concatenated with ID. Both the column name and the role name must be changed. You'll know who the parent is because it provides it. Parent is job, and we modify column name to job ID as well as role name to job ID. And we click OK. You'll notice the order here is not what we want. We place all non-primary foreign keys at the bottom of the entity. To move the order of the attributes around, we use the positional arrows. So we're going to move job ID down to the bottom, and then we're going to click OK. So our model is complete from a graphical perspective, but now we also have to document the sentences that are related to this particular relationship. We use the note object, click it on the model, double click the note on the model, and enter our text. To describe the relationship, each job is held by 0, 1, or more employees, and each employee holds exactly one job. So that describes or provides the sentences for that particular relationship from the two perspectives. We also need to take ownership of the model, add another note, double click it to provide entry, and we're done. If the text or the size of the model is too small, we can adjust that by adjusting the zoom for the model. We can also choose to modify the font display. Typically, you'll want to make that bold so it's nice, clear, and visible. And we're ready. Always remember to file, save, choose where you're going to store the model, and you can browse to where the appropriate place back to the folder of the assignment. Save, close, and we're done. The purpose of this video has been to show you how to start a model, enter some basic items using the entity and relationship icon objects, and then document the relationships and take ownership of the model using the note objects.